The afternoon sun burned hot over a busy intersection in Phoenix, Arizona, where cars crawled forward and the sound of engines filled the air. A tall biker with a black helmet and worn leather jacket slowed his motorcycle as the traffic light turned red. He had just finished a long delivery ride and was thinking about getting a cold drink when something unusual caught his attention. On the sidewalk stood a young girl, no older than 10. She wore a faded blue dress and clutched a small backpack to her chest. Her eyes kept darting around nervously. Behind her stood a man in a baseball cap, tapping his phone impatiently. At first glance, it looked like a normal scene, a father and daughter waiting to cross the road. But the biker felt something was off. The girl suddenly turned toward him. Her eyes locked onto his, full of fear and urgency. She raised her hands and began making quick, deliberate movements. Most people would have looked away, confused, but the biker froze. He recognized those movements immediately. She was using sign language. The biker's chest tightened. Memories rushed back. Late nights in hospitals, quiet dinners, learning hand signs at the kitchen table. His younger sister had been deaf. He had spent years learning American Sign Language just to talk to her. Though it had been a long time, the signs were still burned into his memory. The girl signed again, slower this time, her hands trembling. "He's not my dad." The words hit him harder than any punch ever could. The biker kept his face calm, though his heart was racing. He glanced at the man behind her. The man noticed the look and frowned, taking a step closer to the girl. She flinched. That single reaction confirmed everything. Traffic lights changed. Cars honked. People crossed the street, completely unaware that something terrible might be unfolding right in front of them. The biker knew one wrong move could make things worse. He couldn't scare the girl or alert the man too suddenly. Slowly, casually, he lifted his hand and signed back, keeping his movements small and natural. "Are you in danger?" The girl nodded instantly. Tears welled in her eyes, but she didn't cry. She was trying to be brave. "He took me," she signed. "I don't know him." The biker swallowed hard. His instincts screamed at him to act fast, but smart. He subtly rolled his motorcycle forward, positioning it closer to the curb, creating a barrier between the girl and the street. The man shifted uncomfortably. "Come on," the man muttered, grabbing the girl's arm. Before he could pull her away, the biker killed his engine and removed his helmet. His calm, steady presence drew attention. People nearby began to watch. The biker signed one more time to the girl. "Help is coming. Stay calm." Across the street, he noticed something that gave him hope. A police cruiser parked outside a convenience store. The officer inside was finishing a coffee, unaware of what was happening just a few yards away. The biker took a slow breath. This was the moment where everything could change. The biker stepped off his motorcycle slowly, keeping his movements calm and non-threatening. The man tightened his grip on the girl's arm, his eyes darting around as if searching for an escape. People nearby had started to notice the tension, though no one fully understood what was happening yet. "Is there a problem?" the man asked sharply, forcing a smile. The biker didn't answer him. Instead, he looked at the girl and signed again, carefully and clearly. "I'm here. You're not alone." The girl's breathing slowed just a little. She nodded, holding onto that small bit of reassurance like a lifeline. The man tried to pull her forward. "We're late," he said loudly, hoping the noise of traffic would drown everything else out. That's when the biker raised his voice, just enough to draw attention, not enough to cause panic. "Hey," he said calmly, "is everything okay here?" The man hesitated. That pause was all it took. A few pedestrians stopped walking. A woman across the street frowned. Someone pulled out a phone. The biker casually took a step sideways, positioning himself between the man and the girl without touching either of them. To anyone watching, it looked like a simple conversation. To the girl, it felt like protection. He glanced toward the convenience store again. The police officer was now stepping outside, coffee in hand. The biker knew this was his chance. He raised both hands and signed one more time to the girl. "When I nod, go to the officer." Her eyes followed his gaze. She saw the uniform. Hope flickered across her face. The biker nodded. The girl yanked her arm free and ran. "Hey!" the man shouted, lunging forward. The biker moved instantly, stepping into the man's path. He didn't touch him, didn't push, he simply stood firm, blocking the way. The sudden movement made the officer look up. "What's going on here?" the officer called out. The girl reached him, hands shaking as she signed frantically. The officer knelt down, instantly switching into professional mode. He didn't understand sign language, but fear was universal. He radioed for backup without hesitation. The man tried to explain, his words tumbling over each other. "She's my daughter. She's confused. I was just..." "Sir," the officer said firmly, "step back." Within minutes, another cruiser arrived. The situation unfolded quickly after that. Witnesses spoke up. A woman said she'd seen the girl crying near a playground earlier. Another man said the suspect didn't look panicked until the biker intervened. The truth came out piece by piece. The girl had been separated from her real father at a park. The man had approached her, lied to her, and tried to walk away with her. What he hadn't expected was a biker who understood her silent cry for help. As the man was led away in handcuffs, the street fell quiet. The girl sat wrapped in a blanket, holding a juice box, safe at last. She looked up at the biker and signed softly. "Thank you." The biker smiled, touched his chest, and signed back. "You were very brave." The officer shook his head in disbelief. "If you hadn't noticed." The biker put his helmet back on, his voice low. "Anyone could have helped," he said. But everyone there knew the truth. What he did left everyone stunned. The crowd slowly dispersed as police finished taking statements. Traffic returned to its usual rhythm, but the air still felt heavy with what had almost happened. The biker stood a few steps away, helmet under his arm, watching quietly as the girl sat beside the officer. She looked smaller now, wrapped in a gray blanket, clutching the juice box with both hands. A second officer approached the biker. "Sir, can you stay a moment longer?" he asked. "The girl keeps looking at you." The biker nodded and walked closer, stopping at a respectful distance. He knelt slightly so he wouldn't tower over her and signed gently. "You're safe now." The girl looked up, her eyes tired but steady. She signed back slowly. "My dad went to the bathroom. I waited. Then he was gone." The biker felt a familiar ache in his chest. He signed again. "You did the right thing." Minutes later, a man ran toward them from the far end of the street. His face was pale, panic written into every step. The moment the girl saw him, she dropped the juice box and stood up. "Dad," she cried, her voice breaking through the quiet. The man fell to his knees and pulled her into a tight hug, shaking as he held her. The officers stepped back, giving them space. More questions followed, confirmations, paperwork, but the hardest part was over. The father stood and turned to the biker, his eyes red. "I don't know how to thank you," he said. "If you hadn't stopped." The biker shook his head. "She did the brave part," he replied. "She asked for help." The girl stepped forward and signed one last time. "I remembered my teacher said, if you feel scared, find someone who's paying attention." The biker smiled, a real smile this time. That was good advice. The officers wrapped up the scene. The suspect was already on the way to the station. A report would be filed, a case opened. The city would move on, but the moment would stay with everyone who witnessed it. As the biker put on his helmet and started his engine, the officer who had first approached him called out, "You know, most people would have looked away." The biker paused. "My sister couldn't hear," he said simply. "I learned to listen differently." He rode off down the street, blending back into the flow of traffic. No sirens followed him, no applause, just the steady hum of the road. Behind him, the girl held her father's hand tightly. She watched the biker disappear and raised her hands one more time, signing a silent thank you to the empty street. Sometimes, heroes don't wear uniforms. Sometimes, they notice what others miss. And sometimes, one quiet moment of attention is enough to change everything.